Hello, everyone. Madeline from Dribbble here. How's it going? I am loving seeing where you're all joining from in the chat. If you keep that up, I would love to hear what your location is, where you're joining from, what the time is there. Is it 1 a.m. for anyone? Are you guys on your morning coffees? Are you on your evening drinks? I know we have a really international bunch. I'm on the west coast of Canada at the moment, so I'm just starting my day. I've got my coffee here in my Dribble mug. So you guys have all joined us today for a live and interactive session with Jesse Showalter. He's going to be talking about our 12-week product design course, which we created. So this course is going to be kicking off on the 6th of June. That's the next cohort. We have a cohort running at the moment, and I'm sure you guys already know, but the course is a mix of video learning and live mentorship. So we've got a network of some of the best mentors in the world working at the best forward-thinking design companies, and these guys are heads of design there. And you have a 2-hour weekly live mentorship session with them. You've also got these really digestible, great videos that have been filmed by Jesse. And then you also get your feedback on your projects. You're building your portfolio in the course. And you also have that connection to Dribble's hiring managers as well. So it's a really amazing course. I'm so pumped that you guys are all here to learn about it today. And we can't wait to give you a bit more information and for Jesse to show you behind the curtain and behind the scenes of what you are going to be experiencing when you do join the course. So I know that you guys, I'm sure you're aware of this, but at the moment we've just launched checkout and we're running a 40% discount. So I'm just going to link that in the chat now. So feel free to check that out. Definitely use that. It's on for a limited time offer only. So it's going to be expiring mid-April. So definitely get your ticket. And just before we get Jesse up here to run through some sort of behind the scenes look at the course, I want to share with you a video testimonial from our current cohort students. So our current cohort is in week 4 at the moment. They're just learning visual design. They had a session with Jesse last week, a live and interactive session on wireframing. They've got a session this week with MDS. So I would love to show you some testimonials that they have given us to maybe get you a bit excited about the course. It's only a minute and then we'll get Jesse on stage.
So far, my experience with Dribble's product design course has been great.
Jesse is also an amazing teacher, and he's able to deliver the content in a way that's very easy to understand.
The content in Jesse's videos are super easy to digest and follow.
He really just breaks everything down well, and it's really easy to learn.
So far the experience has been absolutely amazing. The mentors and instructors have been so cool.
I really dig the mentor sessions and how things are really split up.
I personally like how small our mentor group is and how hands-on this course is as well.
I love the self-paced format of this course. I work full-time, and having this format allows me to study whenever it's more convenient for me. And the Slack community has been a huge hit.
And there's a really good feel for community. I absolutely love it, and I'm really excited to be on this journey. Check it out.
Amazing. We love our current cohort students. We're getting to know them in our Slack community, and it's a really, really fun time that we're all having together. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Jesse, who created all the video content for the course. He is a full stack developer. He's completed over 300 projects, and he's been working with clients like Nike, Adobe, Sketch, Bravo, and many more. We're so excited that he is on board creating this course alongside us and that he's here today to show you a bit more about the course. So I'll get Jesse up on stage now.
Hey everybody, welcome to a little bit of an introduction to the course. I'm happy you guys are joining us today. There's over 300 people who are just kind of participating, checking this out. I see you in the chat there. I see Danny and Sunil and Mohammed and Sam. What's up, everybody from all around the world? I'm currently in the Austin, Texas area in my little office here where I filmed all the content for this product design course. And I'm just really excited to kind of give you a little bit of that behind the scenes, a little taste. And it's hard, man. It's so hard to even imagine trying to fit the amount of value and knowledge and content and the time you would have with mentors, all of that into this kind of like 50-minute span of time. But I just want to give you just like a taste, just an idea of it, and see if it's something for you, because it might not be for you, right? It might not be the right time, or might not be the right content or topics. But if you are desiring to become a digital product designer, if you want to work for companies, work for startups, work for yourself, if you want to solve problems, create digital products like mobile applications, web applications, software, if you love creativity, problem solving, if you're the kind of person who likes to take things apart maybe and put things back together, this might be right for you. So I just want to say hello to a few more people. Maggie T's in the house, Sally Kim. We also have that Q&A poll. We're going to be answering questions throughout, but we'll dedicate 10 or 15 minutes at the end to lots of question and answer time. So you can add questions there, upvote those questions, right? Maybe somebody already asked that question, and you can just upvote those as you go, and those will highlight for me, so I can directly communicate with you. And just with that said, that's actually one of my favorite things about this course. Is that we get these hands-on times. Not only with me, will you get live sessions with me and people like MDS and Jessica Coe and hiring managers at Google and all sorts of cool stuff, but you also get weekly point of contact with your mentors, right? You're going to have these groups in your cohort where you get hands-on time, where if something wasn't clear from the video, from the curriculum, from something, then you get to actually get hands-on. That's something that's missing, in my opinion, in online education, is the human element. And so I'm most excited about that. I'm most excited about this and about you being here with me today. I'm going to jump over to my screen and just talk a little bit about what it means to become a product designer in 2022. Some of the skills that are required, some of the things that are needed. So I'm just going to dive in here to this Figma presentation. Hey, if you're a Figma user, congrats, good for you. We're going to be using Figma throughout the course. There's actually going to be an opportunity in this stream today for you to jump into one of my Figma files. We'll work together a little bit. Let's participate. Let's have some fun and scratch up a FigJam file together. Let's talk about some skills. If you're wondering, okay, what skills are required to become a product designer? What does it mean to be a digital product designer? Is it the same as like being a web designer? Let's talk about it. So here's some of the skills we cover in this course and some of the skills you will need to become hireable at the end of the course. One is research and empathy. What does it mean to actually understand a problem, to create a problem statement? We're going to talk, there's entire modules of the course, chapters of the course that are dedicated to the product design process, to creating problem statements, to researching and figuring out how do you get in the shoes of the user, right? How do we figure out what they need, not just what I think is best, but what they actually need? We're going to talk about things like process and leadership. How can you become a leader in your industry, a leader at your company? How can you actually create processes that you can rally people around to help solve those problems in a really fast and agile way? How can you be that person? Of course, we're going to talk about visual design skills, user interface patterns. We go through in the chapters inside the course, entire chapters where we talk about, hey, here's some of the most common UI patterns you'll experience. Here's why they work. Here's why others don't. We're going to be using Figma. You're going to talk about all the skills inside of Figma to not only do visual design, but also rapid prototyping and testing right there in Figma. So you'll learn how to do basic animation, basic prototyping, smart animation, timed triggers. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. You also learn team skills, documentation. You learn how to build pattern libraries. What's the beginning of design systems, really? And I'm pretty sure if you sign up for this cohort, and Madeline might have to come in and kick me off if I'm wrong, but we have different cameos, different appearances by amazing and talented people in the industry. And I'm pretty sure that in this one, we have Brad Frost, who is like the grandfather of design systems. If you ever heard of the atomic system, right? Or just atomic design. He's the one that coined that, actually created that. He travels the world working for Fortune 500 companies, helping them build their design systems. So you're not just going to learn from me. You're going to learn from the masters who do this on a daily basis. We're going to learn about documentation, communication, design systems. You're also going to learn about wireframing and simplifying ideas down to their core basic idea, right? We're going to talk about companies like Uber. We're going to help you build your own dog walking applications or whatever else you're possibly passionate about. Why don't you build something throughout the course? There are going to be capstone projects. We'll talk about that later. But throughout the course, what I'm so passionate about is definitely these bottom two, which is at the end of the day, if you didn't know how to use Figma, if you don't know how to use a design tool, if all you had was paper and pencil, what I really want you to walk away with, and you absolutely will, is problem solving and design thinking skills, passion and creativity, the ability to empathize, research, understand, and then create something right there, pen and paper, FigJam, Figma, whatever you have at your you're accessible to like actually use as far as a tool. It doesn't matter. You can solve problems in your everyday life, in your industry, at your job. And that's what I really want you to walk away with. And some of the techniques, of course, we're going to cover throughout this little stream and throughout the entire 12-week course: testing, user flow diagramming, prototyping, wireframing, UI design, and all of that. So let's jump back. I'm gonna ditch my screen here real quick before we jump in and actually get hands-on and do a little bit of work. We're gonna see if we have any questions, and we might start answering some of those really quickly. There's an upvoted 5-time Constantine asked, can you just describe the transition from graphic designer to a product designer? What helps and what are the challenges? That's a great question. And I think that that's something that we will talk about throughout the course quite a bit, which is product design encompasses, it brings in visual design skills, graphic design skills, user experience design skills, but it's more about the process of launching products quickly. And so some things you might, if you've come from a graphic design, you're out there right now, graphic design background, web design background, maybe print design, maybe you do branding, logos, moving into digital product design. One thing you are going to have to learn, have to really get really good at, is that research aspect. Is how do you understand? How do you lay out flows, right? What is a user flow diagram and what is it used for? How can I make sense on getting the user from A to Z? Because there's all of these little steps in between that the user might experience that you might not have ever really taken the time to think about. We are so used to using technology in our everyday lives that we're just like, sign up, log in, use Facebook and Google to log in, do this thing, upload this to Dribbble, which you all should be doing because Dribble's awesome. So you're just using technology. But the moment you have to design a process of getting a user from one place to another, now we're talking a little bit less about how you paint the building and a little bit more about how the architect planned the structure, right? What doorway do we walk through? How's the layout of the living room set so I can flow through from one to another? Is it an open concept? These are all things that interior designers, that architects think about. They think about the experience. Think about the master architects of antiquity who built cathedrals and beautiful buildings. They thought about how these arches would lead you from one space to another. That's what digital product designers are doing, but we're doing it for mobile and desktop applications and software. How do I lead the user? How do I understand the user? How do I make sense of this thing to the user? How do I simplify lots of complex information and distill it down to be really digestible for the user? And so those are some things you might struggle with a little bit, some things you might learn, definitely are going to learn inside of the course. And with that, actually, let's jump in. I'm going to show you an actual course file. I'm going to show you the type of files that you might jump into to learn. You'll get a session all week long. You'll be studying curriculum on something like this, on user flow diagrams, video courses that are set for, or video lessons that are set for your pace. Take them when you need to. You'll be meeting up with your mentors in your cohorts talking about this, and you'll get access to files like this where you'll see what's provided, what the goals are, and then there'll be some instructions for you to accomplish. And then you'll be moving on and actually building out a user flow diagram. Now, let's just real quickly, some of you might understand what a user flow diagram is, but if you don't, it's going to be a great time to kind of chat a little bit about what I was just talking about, right? Making sense. This doesn't look like graphic design to me. This doesn't look like a cool, like stylish, modern, like mobile app at all. This looks like a map. And it's a broken map at that. So this is a challenge that you'll experience along the way, which is, hey, how do we get a user to start at our home screen, to tap, sign up, or log in? How do we get them to enter their information and then lead them to a confirmation screen? You get a little bit extra credit if you can accomplish some of these little side missions, side quests kind of thing. But the idea is we're going to teach you what a user flow diagram looks like. Entry points and exit points being circles, right? Each one of these screens in between our arrows, that's showcasing where the user leads or is led from one place to another. We go from entry to maybe a home screen or a dashboard screen. And then we talk about, even throughout the course, hey, what things are industry standards and what things do me and my team have to come up with and create kind of a design language for? For instance, How you use rectangles to dictate screens or pages, it might be up to you a little bit. I like to put them inside these little rectangles that have little dots that look like a desktop browser. That's just me. But what is kind of an industry standard is the decision diamond, is knowing that my user has started at home, has clicked something that led, or they've maybe splash screened or a timed animation into their home screen, and now they have a decision of some sort. Well, following my instructions, what's that decision? We need them to either log in or sign up. So my decision leads one way for sign up. We also need to bring our labels and our other decision to log in. Well, once they sign up, after they've signed up, where do they need to go? They probably need to go back to some sort of like login screen. So now we have a login screen here, right? They want to log in or they want to sign up. Let's move these other elements out of the way a little bit, right? So now they're either, like I said, signing up or logging in. If they sign up, what do? They need to be led back around, and we're going to teach you all about how to create user flow diagrams like this, how to make them extendable and scalable. So okay, now they have an account. They're going to be moved to the login page, but now they have another decision. So let's bring another one of these here and move it over, right? Now we have another one, a decision. Okay, was that incorrect or was it correct when they signed in or they tried to log in? Did they put in the right password? If not, they need to be led to a forgot password state, right? If not, or if it is correct, they need to be led somewhere else, like maybe to their actual dashboard where they can sign up or do whatever they're doing, right? So this design thinking, this making sense of where a user needs to go, what value can we bring to the user, what are their needs, what are their problems, right? And we can jump off my screen here for a second and talk a little bit more about problems, but that's the entire idea about digital product design, is solving problems. Now we could take something like that user flow diagram we just made, and we can use that to start building out wireframes. And we can use those wireframes, which I'll show you in a minute, to start building out really beautiful high fidelity designs. But before we get to that high fidelity design, what do we got to do? The product design process is going to say, hey, don't spend hundreds of hours picking out colors and trying to like make sense of this unless you've tested it. So we're going to take this idea, this user flow diagram, we're going to build out a janky looking wireframe, right? It's going to be sketches on notebooks or maybe in a FigJam file. And we might even bring it into Figma and make a nicer looking wireframe. But we're not going any further than that. We're going to create a clickable prototype out of it, right? Then we're going to test that. We're going to send that to some users. And we talk about some ways in the course that you can actually get that into the hands of your users, whether it's online, whether it's doing user research and finding a user group to test it on, a sample study. Talk about some of those things in the course, right? But it's this idea of, okay, now we have something. It is ragtag. It's not fully formed. Let's test that. Is the idea even sound, right? Does it even make sense before we invest a lot of resources, hours, money, time, creativity into something that at the end of the day, it might not solve the user's problem? What I love about digital product design, and there's a lot of questions, even Kritika is asking this question, how is product design different from user experience and user interface design, right? Because UI and UX design is part of product design, but at the end of the day, product design is the process that lets us in a very agile way do UI and UX design, do that research, test, iterate, come back around and try it again until we have really perfected the core idea, right? So UI and UX design is great, but product design mixes together the user's needs and the business needs together. So you want to be a really successful product designer. That's a person who says the business wants to do this. The business wants to accomplish these things. That's the business goals mixed with the user goals. Oh, now you have magic. And I've told the story in some kind of online times, but we talked about solving problems in the simplest ways. Of course, there's a lot of UI and UX designers out there right now who can create interfaces that look like Uber's like digital interface. But the digital product designers on that team got together and started brainstorming, what does it look like to solve a problem? The problem to solve was not making a beautiful interface. The problem to solve was, hey, users are having trouble getting cab rides. And so let's distill that down to the simplest possible problems within the cab issue. And those two big problems for Uber were, number one, calling a cab and knowing it's actually coming for you. That was a problem. There's a lack of confidence. There's no joy in that. And now Uber said, that's something we can solve. We can solve that minute problem. So we're going to create an application where you can order a cab with your phone, see that cab is coming to get you, and be confirmed that that's the right cab for you. Man, that solved a problem. But problem number 2 they identified, and these are business problems mixed with user problems, was the other problem people have is paying. The other problem people have is they take their cab ride and go, do you take card? I don't have cash on me. Uh-oh, now we're in a pickle. You want to follow me to an ATM? What is this, like the 1800s? Am I on a horse and buggy over here? No, Uber said, we're going to fix that problem. By the moment you order the cab, your payment information's in there. It's already like done. Just walk out of the cab. The enjoyment of a cab ride was elevated through the process of Uber solving those small problems. So what's the difference between UI design, UX design, and digital product design? It's the bringing together of solving those problems. UI and UX design is the vehicle to help us solve the problem. And we'll teach you in the course how to mesh these two worlds. We'll teach you how to be a problem solver. We'll teach you how to be that kid who got a Christmas present and took it apart like me and then put the thing back together and then frustrated their parents, because that's what it's about, is solving problems. I took that remote control car apart, and then later on in life, I built my own remote control car because I was just so fascinated in the electronics. And I feel like I can do this better. I can solve this issue that I have with this cheap $10 truck that I got when I was a kid. All right. So that's a great question. And what we really want to teach you to do is have great solutions, right? Great solutions for those problems. And so we're actually going to jump in really quickly and let's talk about maybe solving some problems. I'm going to jump over to my screen here and we have our user flow here. You'll be taught in the course how to take a user flow, right? We're thinking through problems and how to get the user from A to Z or A to B or wherever they need to go. And then we're going to start bringing that into FigJam or into a sketchbook. We're going to start creating wireframes. So actually I want to kind of interact with you guys today a little bit. I got a link I'm going to drop in the chat. And I want everybody, if you have an internet connection, you don't even have to have a Figma account. You can just jump in with me into this FigJam file. There's 347 of us. We are about to make a FigJam mess. Okay. Yeah, people are jumping in there right now. I love it. I'm so excited. Look at, okay, we have like over 40 people in our file. This is going to get crazy, y'all. Okay. Now let's really quickly, I'm just going to, I'm going to hide my multi cursors so it doesn't look like crazy. Feel free, type, have fun, do whatever you got to do. Keep it nice, be positive inside the FigJam file, or I'm going to kick everybody out. I'm going to do 2 things inside of this FigJam file. I'm going to teach you about empathy mapping a little bit. I'm going to teach you a little bit about, well, obviously FigJam, but I'm also going to teach you a little bit about drawing wireframes. And so I'm going to carve out a section for myself, and out of respect for the demo, everyone is going to be so nice and is going to stay out of this section right here. That's me. This is my section. Nobody touch it. All right. Everybody can play all around everywhere else they want to go. And then we're going to jump in. All right. So let's first over here on this side of my little experiment. I'm going to change colors and I'm inside of FigJam. I'm just picking my marker. I'm going to grab red here and I'm going to draw a line like down the center. I'm going to grab some text and over here, I'm going to put empathy mapping like that. All right. And then I'm just going to hold down control. I'm going to drag another piece of text over here, which it's pretty small. Let's make it huge. We might actually size our text down so I can see that I have absolutely spelled that incorrectly. So let's do that. And I'm going to drag this one back over here. I'm going to call this one wireframing. Okay. All right. So let's first talk about an empathy map. Let's zoom in. We'll get out of this 10,000 foot view and zoom in just a little bit. People are saying I'm the best. People are drawing amazing little things right here. I love it. That's a whole lot of graffiti. This is digital graffiti time over on the left-hand side. That's cool. So first we're going to discover what it is to do a little bit of an empathy map. I'm going to go back to my black marker and I'm just going to draw a line vertically and horizontally. We've created a 4 kind of sector like chart here. And in our 4 sector chart, this is where we're going to start building out a little bit of our empathy map. Okay. Within our empathy map, and let me just see if I can get the right things up here on my screen. Okay. Within our empathy map, we could drag out some Post-its, right? I'm just going to put one right here. And that looks pretty good to me. And we could do 4 different empathy maps. And if the Post-its are too big for you, feel free at any time, while you're working in FigJam, you can always backtrack, delete things. We could choose different shapes. So I might actually choose a rectangle instead because I might be able to shape my rectangle down just a little bit. All right. So we're going to do a few different ideas inside of our empathy map. All right. Naughty. Don't be messing inside my thing. This is says, right? This one is going to be something like thinks. This one's going to be does, right? And so we're going to teach you how to do a couple different categories inside of your empathy map. And when I was talking about that idea of being a leader, right? Creating processes that your users can your teams can get on board with, processes at your job that you can actually stop being just visual designers. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but start actually being a full-blown problem-solving digital product designer. These are the types of processes we're going to teach you how to do. They're going to become second nature to you. Whiteboarding exercises and empathy mapping and wireframing, right? So that we can create prototypes, right? And we use those prototypes, we test them on our users. And as our users are, not either they're testing, they're experiencing our applications, right? We can then figure out, okay, what was our user saying, right? Our user was saying things like, where is the button? Like, for God's sakes, I don't know where the button is. Or maybe our user was saying, I'm confused, right? Like maybe they were like verbally saying such things. Okay. Now we can actually learn how to create testing situations where we actually ask our users, hey, what were you thinking? You seem to really be struggling in this area where you're trying to like log in. What were you thinking? And they could say, oh, I was thinking, like I wish there was a Facebook login, right? Because maybe your type of user does Facebook login for everything. They're that type of user. Maybe they're that demographic. Maybe you've dug into their sociographics, demographics, psychographics, and realized, okay, we've done our research. We've realized that most people have either a Google or Facebook. That's maybe a feature we should add that could help the user experience. But to do that, we're going to dive into what the user thinks, right? We might dive into what the user does, right? These are actions that the user might take as we are testing out our interfaces or as we're testing out our products. Maybe they keep clicking the colored text because in their minds, blue text means hyperlink. It means something they should tap. And all of a sudden we realize, ooh, we tested that out and we've realized that's actually a bad design. We're confusing our user. So our action from this is going to be to neutralize like all the color, like the color of text should be all black maybe, right? And so we're going to teach you how to do empathy mapping. We're going to teach you how to ask questions, how to think about the user and their problems. Look at these amazing drawings you guys are doing all around, right? And now next, I am going to do a little bit of wireframing over here, and we're going to wireframe a little bit of a login screen. You've probably seen 100 or 1,000 login screens or 1,000,000 login screens, depending on how much technology you tend to use in your day-to-day life. And if I asked you to wireframe out a login screen, maybe you could do it, but maybe you'd miss some ideas. We just did this the other day. I was doing a live wireframing session, which I love doing wireframing. And I got to do a 1-hour deep dive wireframing session with the entire cohort. That was just last week or the week before. It was so much fun. So imagine doing this at a grander scale, talking about wireframing. We got to draw wireframes together, dig deep into some of my methods of wireframing. I want to teach you, somebody's already drawing a login button. I want to teach you a little bit of a wireframing method or a little technique that you can use at home that I like to call crazy eights, right? So I'm going to grab my marker, and what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to draw a spot for 8 designs. And to do that, 3 lines down and 1 horizontal here. Okay, and we're going to dive in. And if I said to you, I want you to draw or I want you to wireframe or think out or problem solve a login screen, I like to do this thing called Crazy Eights, where I have 8 spots to draw fast, to conceptualize ideas, to ideate quickly and generate ideas. Now, the reason we use FigJam or something like a notebook for this is so the technology doesn't get in your way and slow you down. We want to break down any friction that you might have. That's my spot to draw. Get out of there, you. All right. I love it. I feel like I just punished you like a child. I just did one of these. Don't worry. It's okay. You're all right. But draw your own crazy 8 spots somewhere else on the FigJam. And I'll give you 60 seconds right now. And in 60 seconds, we're all going to draw 8 versions of a login screen and mix up all the ideas as much as possible. Everybody's laughing in the chat for me digitally smacking somebody's hands. 60 seconds. Ready, set, go. Draw 8 of your own wireframes. Don't mess with anybody else's. And I'm just going to I'm going to draw my little frame here for my phone. And then I'm just going to duplicate these frames really quick. Think smarter, not harder. Grab all of them and bring them down. We're still in our 60-second time frame. Okay, definitely. With my pen out, I'm thinking maybe like avatar here, and I'm thinking maybe there's an image behind. People are joining me. You shouldn't be drawing on mine. You should be drawing on your own. That's okay. This is an input field, and maybe this input field has your little @ symbol. That's so ugly. That's okay. That's where we put our email. This is where we put our password, like here. And then we have a button down below, but we're probably going to need a forgot your password login. Okay. But we forgot the Facebook thing. So let's just do like maybe like some sort of logo here. We'll do our 2 input fields here. These are so messy, of course, right? You have our big button. We probably need to designate our button. So I'm just going to scratch that and make it darker so it looks like a button. We'll do our login or sign up forgot kind of thing. And let's do 2 buttons side by side. This one will be Facebook. This one will be Google. Actually, I really, really like that idea. So I'm going to delete everybody else's hard work because they shouldn't be messing with my stuff in here. I'm going to grab all of this. I'm going to duplicate it over. Maybe we don't need a logo at all. Somebody's doing an image in there for me. I'm going to steal their work. I'm going to kick that thing out right there. Stop drawing on my stuff. Okay. And then I'm going to draw my login and my button stuff right in there. Everybody's feeling so guilty for drawing in my spots. Okay, I actually really, really like that one. Probably almost up with 60 seconds. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to duplicate it. This person had the right idea because inside of a wireframe, you should always put something in there that denotes that it's an image. I like the image idea. Maybe we want to get rid of, or maybe do these buttons or these input fields side by side like this. We could do that. Boom, boom, boom. And bring all of this up. And I think we're just out of time. So this is the idea of like crazy eights, not tic-tac-toe, but crazy eights, drawing wireframes quickly, right? It's the idea of generating ideas. This is actually, sometimes people go like, this just looks like messy sketching to me. No, because what we're going to do next is refine our ideas. Product design is all about refining, right? All about drilling down, simplifying, refining, kicking out the chaff and holding on to the wheat, as they would say. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab a red pen. I'm going to come through like a 3rd grade teacher and go, hey, you know what? I don't like this. This is a must. And especially keeping the sign in or forgot your password thing right next to the login. This is a must. Yeah, you can replace that login button. That's fine. I do like the logo, but I think the logo should probably go top left like so. I definitely think we should include Facebook login stuff. That's good. Did we like the image? Although we did, I think we don't need the image. So we're just going to cross those out. This looks like maybe like a little help me kind of thing. I don't think we need that, right? I think people know how to log in. And so people are giving kind of up votes or down votes to things. So from this idea, or from kind of highlighting and streamlining and drilling down on what works and what doesn't work, we would then come in and start building out like actual real wireframes that we can test, right? And so with that being said, I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to do a new design file real quick. You won't be able to get into this design file, but you can create your own Figma design file if you'd like. I'm going to hit F for frame. I'm going to grab me like 11 Pro Max, right? Something we'll talk about in the course is when you're designing, don't grab the largest screen size. Don't grab the smallest. Design for maybe like kind of the medium size, the most commonly used size, right? So I just darken the background in Figma and I like to round my corners so it looks a little bit more like a device frame. One thing we'll talk about, and I'll always be an advocate of, is one of the reasons I love Figma is because of frames. Frames are super powerful. They're not just artboards, but they're containing elements. It's actually built a little bit more like front-end web development to think about responsive resizing, which we talk about using auto layout, which we'll talk about, okay? So we're going to go back in and grab, I don't know, let's just redraw really quickly, maybe one last version of our wireframe that we love, that kind of brings all these things together. So here's like logo in the top left. We'll do crisscross to show that's an image. That saves us a lot of space, right? Okay, we liked all of this. I'm going to group it together by holding down Command G, right? This is our login stuff here. Okay, somebody put their cool login button, which sure, I'm going to grab that whole thing, minus the frame, and I'm just holding down Shift to like deselect the frame, group that login button together. Sure, let's bring that login button. It looks like it's written in Viking hieroglyphics, but I like it. I'm into it, okay? And I'm going to grab these two, right? And we can't forget our did you forget your password kind of deal. Now we can move these all up. I like this. I'm going to group the whole thing together, and I'm actually just going to copy right here, come into my wireframe, and paste, okay? This is another reason I love working inside of Figma, because everything just flows. I'm going to hit K for scale. I'm just going to bring up the size of my wireframe. Obviously, it's not to scale. Let's make the stroke of all of this white. We can see our general layout that we're going to be working on, right? Let's just shrink it down. Beautiful. Now we're going to do things. A lot of times when you're doing product design, again, we want to work quickly, but we don't want to just completely ignore design, like smart design, right? So we're not going to actually drop in like columns and layouts and grids and stuff, but we might actually hit Shift R and just bring in some rulers, like just some guides, like maybe 26 pixels away from each side kind of thing. Okay, something like that, so that we have at least a little bit of alignment, which throughout the course, if you're like, ooh, I'm actually not great at visual design, we do a whole section like this where we cover like visual design basics, right? We cover things like how do you make designs that are balanced? How do you make designs that are like how do you implement proximity with your typography? How do you build typographic scales? Like how do we do alignment, right? As long as we're on some invisible access of alignment, things look good. So we'll talk about what I think to be the 9 basic core fundamental visual design principles you need to bring to your interfaces to really make them like wow factor for your users. We'll talk about all that stuff, but alignment's one of them, right? So I'm just going to draw O for an ellipse. I'll pop that in the left-hand edge. We're just wireframing right now. We're not doing anything too crazy. We'll also talk in the course about using already established systems, about using already established like wireframe like sets, and you can go into the community in Figma and find things and pull them down. But we'll just do things really, really simply for now. I'm just going to hit maybe like R. Actually, what I might do is just hit T for text, and I might just put email here, and I'm going to use the amazing auto layout feature inside of Figma, which everybody should be using as well. Shift A turns this into an auto layout, which is basically a frame, and we can actually fill our frame. We can style it, right? Because it's a wireframe, it should probably stay gray boxes, right? We can drag this out, and now we have like an immediate padding, like for our input fields. And if we want to, we could probably center this. Okay, cool. Let's do another one down here, and we'll do password goes there. Great. Let's do a button. Okay, I'm going to drag this down, and I'm going to we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go into my auto layout panel and make sure everything's centered, and I'm going to put like log in here. Obviously, we want this to look a little bit more like a button, so I might play with it around the corners a little bit. And just for wireframing purposes, I may make this a little bit darker so that when we're testing this, our user knows this is a button. I might even make it just a little bit bigger, maybe just to denote a difference. Because right now, all we're trying to do is denote, like, hey, this is where we want the user to go from this place to this place. Okay, that's all we really care about. I'm going to take that button. I'm going to bring it down below, right? Because we have Facebook login with Facebook. Beautiful. We're going to shrink that button, something like that. Let's do another one. How about login with Google? I don't care that they're not capitalized. I'm not even worrying about that right now. I'm worrying about just generally spacing these things and getting them in here. Okay, good. Cool. I love that. Okay. Our phone or our phone frame is really big. So we can actually take all of these maybe and spread them out a little bit, make it a nicer experience for our users. I'm going to bring this down, and then we're going to have a line of text down below that says, forgot your password or need to sign up, something like that, right? One thing we'll talk about is like when you're rapidly prototyping, we're not really caring yet about language or copy. What we really want is we just want this stinking prototype to work, right? Okay, now let's bring all our worlds, collide them all together. We got a couple more minutes before we do pure Q&A, but let's go back a little bit to our user flow diagram, right? So the user enters, right? They need to either log in or sign up. Okay. And now we can start actually figuring out, okay, is there some clever ways that we can get users to log in or sign up in a really like nice, seamless way? Like maybe simpler even than we're doing it here. Maybe we ditch the logo, and maybe what we'll find is like a tabbed approach up here at the top might be nice. Like, hey, up here you have a whole area with some text inside of it, and this says log in, right? And this is like your active tab. And then over here, you have another one of these that's an inactive tab. Of course, you'd want to make these look a lot nicer, but see how this is just problem solving. This is just thinking things through and trying to figure out what's the best way, right? So maybe this one comes over and this is like not filled, but it's outlined, and we take this away, right? And this is sign up. And maybe they jump back and forth here and they're on this active login tab. That looks a little funky. We would fix it. We would make it look better, but we want to test things out. Oh, that's great. Because if the user gets here and we say, hey, your goal, we want to test out what it looks like for a user to get there without an account, and they land on this login page, can they easily find how to sign up? Maybe that's a challenge we set for ourselves. So we're going to create something like this, and we're going to create maybe like the next step, right? Which would be, okay, maybe we need to jump over to an active state for sign up. Let's do that, right? So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to fill it again, and I'll take the border off, and we'll do the same thing here. We'll hide this. We'll turn the stroke on, and we're going to get different things, right? So maybe now we need to do sign up. Great. We'll do like a big headline here. Sign up for free. This confirms to the user that they are exactly where they need to be, right? We are not even worrying about like typographic scale and beautiful typography. This is all ugly stuff right now, and that's what we want it to be, right? Sign up for free. Great. Email, password, and we change this. And now let's just do, if you've never done any prototyping inside of Figma, it's super easy. Let's do that right now. I'm going to create buttons out of these, and I'll create a button out of that, right? Out of each one of those. I'm going to go over to my prototype tab, and we'll finish up this janky looking prototype simply by clicking on our sign up button and leading over here. We could do something like on tap, right? On tap, we want to navigate to, right? iPhone 11 Pro Max 2. We didn't name it. We could probably name that sign up instead. But let's do something like, let's do a push. We'll do push in from the side, and in Figma, we get this great little animation to show us what that might look like. All right, awesome. And we'll go back. It had timing all locked into it. We'll go back the other way, and we'll push the other way. Okay. Ease out 300 milliseconds. We'll name our flow, sign up or log in. And in Figma, we'll press our little play button, and that'll bring up our prototype, right here inside of Figma. And we could actually look how broken this is because we're viewing it inside the phone, right? So we could fit to screen. We could do something actual size. Okay, well, we can come back to our design really quickly. Go to prototype. It should not be in a device, but for some reason it is. That's okay. Oh, we got the wrong one here. Sorry, I'm losing you. Stay with me, everybody. Let's open that prototype up again one more time. And if we need to go back and fix it. We can do that, right? We can grab all the elements inside if we really need to inside of the design tab, and we'll bring them down and just make a little bit of room, right? Okay, cool. And that should reflect now here. So now we can jump between sign up and log in. This is a really, really bad example of a prototype. It's really ugly, but I've just shown you a little bit of that product design process in less than 40 minutes, taught you a couple of techniques. We can jump off my screen and jump straight to question and answer time, because I'm sure there are tons and tons of questions at this point. Because trust me, everybody, this is like a fast-paced fire hydrant velocity, 10,000 foot view. But when you jump into this course, you'll be able to slow down and really understand the concepts, understand the techniques, learn them. And then if you're not quite sure, you'll be able to walk these things out with your mentors, which is the only reason I would do a course like this, is because the folks at Dribbble said, we want this to be hands-on learning. I'm an educator. I want people to learn and grow. Before I started like in the digital like product design industry, like this was like 16 years ago, I was washing like washing dishes and waiting tables. I didn't realize that I could use problem solving. I could use creativity to carve out a career for myself, one that I love and enjoy, working on rad projects with cool people. And I wanted to pass that off to the rest of you. I want to pass that idea, that truth off to as many other people as I can get a hold of. And Dribbble like said, hey, we want to do that together. And so that's why there are mentorships. That's why there are live sessions. That's why it's plugged into hiring managers. That's why it's built into the Dribbble platform, because that's going to be the place where you can launch off and be most successful. Okay. And so I'm going to jump over to the Q&A tab. 24 upvotes for this top question by Barom. It says, hi, Jesse, does this course fit for experienced product designers as well as for beginners? I think it actually does, right? I think that this would be great for somebody who has no experience, but I'm a person who, I've been in this industry for like 15 years or so. I still take courses. I still learn from other people because I love to learn their techniques, their ways of going about doing things, their ways of thinking, right? So you may have been in the industry for a while. Maybe you are a seasoned product designer. Maybe I do things different. Maybe MDS does things different from me. Maybe Jessica's going to recommend things that are different from me. I think the more voices that you can get with differing processes and opinions and thoughts about things, it's going to cultivate a very well-rounded product designer in you, right? It's going to challenge you to some of those basics, some of those core concepts. Are you doing things this way? But it's also going to give you some insights into other people, other industries, other teams, and how they do it, which I think is huge. That's massive. I think that's a great question. I think it's great for all levels, in my opinion. Laura says, how many hours a week do you think we would need to dedicate to the course? I believe it's somewhere between 4 to 6 hours at least of coursework that you're going to have to put in. Madeline's giving me the thumbs up. That's right. We're finding that with this first cohort, 4 to 6 hours. That's actually, if you think about it, let's say you have a 9 to 5 job, right? You wake up early, you got to commute to work. Maybe you're lucky you work remote or something. That's 30 minutes before you make that commute or start that work. 30 minutes after. You could do that 5 days a week and you'd pretty much be there, right? You could do it on your lunchtime. You could you can access some of this. I'm going to be real crude right now. You can access this on your phone while you are on the toilet if you really needed to, right? So you could take advantage of these little snippets, these little moments, right, to glean the information and then carve out those half-hour, hour times to work through the curriculum. You are going to be building capstone projects at the end. There's 3 projects that you will walk through at the end, and there's 3 provided to you, but your mentors will also recommend other projects. And if you have something that you're really passionate about, you can bring that idea in and make that one of your capstone projects. And with the release of Dribble's rolling out case studies now on the Dribbble platform, you're gonna be able to build these beautiful case studies for your capstone projects. Oh my gosh, it's just gonna be awesome. It's going to be amazing. So 4 to 6, generally speaking, it's going to help you get it done. But you can, the more you put into it, of course, like anything else in life, the more you will get out of it, right? Great question, Laura. Lanier says, I'm looking for support with my portfolio/job placement. How prepared for the job hunt will we be after the 12 weeks? Well, I wish I could say that every single person here would leave here get hired as a senior product designer. But some of that does depend on you. It does depend on the amount of work that you put in and the amount of knowledge that you're bringing to it. I do believe strongly in the curriculum that's been created, in the mentor system, in the cohorts, and all of that. I believe that if you actually committed to this for 12 weeks and you came out of with 0 experience, I think you should be able to leave starting to apply for junior product designer positions. I truly believe that in my heart, because I think that the content, the curriculum, the knowledge, the value that's there, if you adhere to these systems, if you adhere to these teachings, if you really take them in and learn and glean from your mentors, I think if you take all of that, you're going to have amazing case studies, amazing portfolio pieces, experience in thinking through these things, and you will be humble and teachable and hungry and ready. I believe that in my heart. So I think that if you come in gung-ho, ready to do it, knowing that in 12 weeks, you're going to be ready to start applying. And I say this to everybody. I think everybody should start applying before they think they're ready. There's an imposter syndrome that runs through all of us. Okay. It runs in me right now. I'm not worthy to be sitting in front of how many people right now? 323 people like encouraging you, telling you to jump into this industry. Who am I, right? But that's imposter syndrome speaking. I don't want to listen to that. I don't want you to listen to that. I want you to head into it gung-ho, believing in yourself, cranking, working hard, hustling, grinding, and then achieving your dreams and finding a job that you love. Because if you show up every day and do something you love, it is not a job. It's a joy. And I want everybody out there to have that joy, okay? So that's a great question. I think you can do it, right? And I think Madeline's jumping back in.
Hey, Jesse, I just wanted to add to your awesome answer, because we do have a lot of support for people who've just graduated to place them into jobs. Obviously, no guarantee here, but you would have created that portfolio on Dribbble with your 3 projects that you did during the course. And then after the course, we're going to be sending an email to all our hiring managers. So these are folks who are actively hiring and actively recruiting talent on Dribbble. We send an email around saying, hey, this is the last cohort. These are the graduates of our product design course. Check them out, have a meeting with them, look at their portfolios. So we connect you with our hiring managers. And then also in week 11, the penultimate week of the course, we do career prep week. So this is really great for getting all those questions that you have answered with your mentor. And then Jesse, I know that you provided some sort of templates for resumes, some really good tips on how to prepare for your interviews. I know your mentor will be doing a lot of career prep with you that week as well. So yeah, we have a whole week dedicated on career prep. We keep the Slack community open afterwards. So you have an alumni Slack where we're going to be posting jobs. And as part of one of these like expert facilitator live sessions, we've got Jessica Coe coming in week 11, which is your career prep week. And she's the ex-hiring manager of Google. So she's seen thousands and thousands of really great to really not so great portfolios. And she's going to be doing a live session with you all about how to make yourself stand out in your portfolio and how to get hired. So you're really learning from the best. And we really have tried to curate the course to support you as much as possible through graduation to employment.
Yeah, that's awesome. Amazing. Thank you for that, Madeline. Yeah, the fact that it's plugged in to Dribble's network of hiring managers, to me, is a massive opportunity, right? You don't get that opportunity if you go take some like whatever other little course that you most likely you may not finish, right? For me, I love cohorts because there's accountability, right? And there's live sessions. I'm engaged, I'm excited. And at the end of it, people are not only just teaching me the techniques and the skills, but preparing me for a career. That, to me, that's a massive thing with experts coming in. So I love that. That was a great question. And I really hope you'll sign up and join because I think it's a ton of value for you. Let's see. Amy's asking about that 40% discount code. Yes, absolutely. It's in the chat. I'm sure Madeline will post it again at the end of this. So don't worry. It's 40%. I believe that 40% is going away in the next week or two. So jump on it, before you miss out on that, because it is an amazing deal for this kind of content. Dewey actually, H has a great question. He says, I'm a developer. How does this course benefit me? Is product design a broad subject? As a developer, this course could benefit you. I'm always a big fan of the crossover and engineering and designing teams working together. So you might get a ton of value out of this course learning what goes into that product design process, because the truth of the matter is I had an old CEO that I worked for, and she was just such a brilliant, phenomenal leader. And she would say, everybody is a designer. That doesn't mean everyone's going to be in the design software actually doing the work, but everybody has good ideas, and ideas are the things that solve problems. And so maybe you want to kind of like accelerate and increase those idea generating like skills that you have. Maybe you want to like increase those problem solving skills that you have. This is a great place to do it. I think it could be good for a developer as well. Obviously, I think it lends itself more towards people who want to become digital product designers. But if you're like, man, I'm just crushing my development field and you want to add that extra skill set, could be a good thing. I love it. Let's see. How many people are in the cohorts? Well, we get one-on-one time regarding our projects. Actually, Madeline, that's a great question that you might get to come up and ask me, because I don't get to be in the cohorts. So let us know. Like, it's not a lot, but Madeline will speak to that better.
Totally. So the cohorts or the mentor sessions are 10 to 15 people. So you're doing group interactive learning for 2 hours a week with your mentor, with 10 to 15 other designers from all around the world. That's a really great opportunity to critique other people's work, to learn together, to network with other designers in your cohort. You're also in the Slack group with your small mentor group as well. So great opportunity for meeting other designers and learning from them. The one-on-one sort of feedback comes when you submit your projects and submit your tasks for that week. And then your mentor would give you individual, personalized, hands-on feedback to your individual assignment specifically. So that's where you get the sort of personal feedback from your mentor. And you could obviously ask your mentor questions in your Slack group one-on-one, but the live learning is done with 10 to 15 other people.
Which is a great number. I love that number. I think it's because if it's too small as a cohort, you lose that ability to get really critical feedback, positive critique, right? That will help kind of refine and grow you. But if it's too small, you don't get that. If it's too big, if it's 20, 30, 40 people, you lose a little bit of that intimacy, right? And a little bit of that accountability. So I think that number 10 to 15 for me, I think that would work like beautifully, because you get one of the biggest learning experiences of my life was the first time I ever physically put work on a wall and let everybody else in my class run red marker through my work and figure out what was wrong with it or how I can improve it. Because there's this little soft skill that we have to like actually cultivate in us as well, which is being humble and realizing that we don't always have the best ideas, but allowing feedback from the user, from our peers to come in. It's a massive thing. So I love that number. And again, you always get that one-on-one time. If you Slack back and forth with your mentor, they'll give you direct feedback, which is crucial and super powerful. I think we got time for maybe one or two more questions. So let's jump to those. How many hours a week will you have to spend on video material? I think Madeline actually just answered that. So we'll move on to the next one. After the course, will we have a project to add to our portfolios? Yes, you'll have multiple projects, as we said earlier, capstone projects. And I've provided 3 capstone projects for you to participate in. Your mentors can provide others for you. And then if you have something you're really passionate about, you can bring those to the table. Maybe you've always wanted to launch, a certain application or business, and it's time to create a web application or a mobile app for it. It's that can be absolutely be a time for you to do that. Let's see. Amy says, did you say you would post the information? Yep, 40% coming. Courtney, what if you don't have much experience with design overall? Is the course still a good fit? Yeah, it really is. It's a great fit because like I just showed it a little bit in this hour, but you're going to learn things like UI design skills, how to use Figma, color, typography, mood boards, layout, vertical rhythm, grids and layouts and structure. You're going to learn about the design basics, right? Actually, you're going to learn about contrast and repetition and alignment and proximity. These are the things you would learn if you went to a traditional design school. We're just going to immediately apply them to digital product design. And so you could have a conversation with somebody who's been designing for years and doing print design or brand design about proximity and color typography. When you're done with the course, you can hang in that conversation because you're going to learn all of those foundational principles that you'll need. So absolutely, I'm super passionate about it because I think that, yes, Steve Jobs once said, it's not about the way it looks, it's about the way it works. But it's nice when it works and looks good. It's nice when you bring both those things together. So we want you to bring both those things together in this course. What's the difference between Google's course and Dribble's course? I actually don't know much about Google's course, but I think maybe the difference might be this hands-on element, the cohort element, the tight-knit community that you're going to be in, right? There's something about that accountability and that personal interaction. You might actually make some really good friends that'll stick with you for years to come because you've worked side by side with them in the trenches as you build out your products. Okay. Santiago asked this question. Hey guys, I'm currently a front end dev. I've been for 5 years, but now my design skills suck. Don't say that. Be positive. You're cool. Well, will I be able to get better at UI UX design with this course? Do I have any amount of experience for this? So again, no experience needed, but you will hyper focus on UI and UX design. Those are core elements of digital product design, but you'll also get that design process thinking. You get prototyping, design systems, scaling those systems, visual design, career prep. Like, oh my, you're going to get all of it. We have a whole chapter on user research and study and testing techniques. You're going to learn so much more, but yes, you'll also learn those UI and UX skills, and they will really challenge you to grow and improve. Will we be using a wireframe application during the course, or is it Figma only? It's Figma only, which is great. We'll show you how to use the free version of Figma. So if you don't want to download and pay for it, you can just use the free version, and you should be able to use Figma for prototyping, wireframing, design, high fidelity, low fidelity, everything you can use Figma for, which is absolutely fantastic. Maybe even creating initial case studies, right? You can present inside of Figma. So we'll teach you how to use Figma for everything, just because I think Figma is a rad tool. It works for a lot of people. The reason I chose Figma for this course was because it is platform independent. You can use it in the browser, you can use it on PC, you can use it on Mac, whatever. It's for everything. And I don't want any friction. I don't want anything to stand in the way from you being successful in this course, right? Or have certain software or hardware or whatever. So this works for everybody. Let's see. I think we got maybe time for one more, so I'll just do this one. Angel says, I love all your Jesse's tutorials on YouTube. How is this course different from general assembly? Again, well, thank you for loving my tutorials on YouTube. I appreciate it. I think that this course is going to be highly different because it's plugged in to the Dribbble hiring network. You have superstars in the industry like MDS and Brad Frost and Dan Mall. People are going to be stopping by. You can't get that anywhere else, right? You can't get that hands-on, amazing type of interactive content and education where you're actually held accountable. you will accomplish these assignments, and you will crush them with the help of your team, your cohort, and your mentors. I just don't think you're going to find that anywhere else. It's like nothing else I've seen. So I really highly encourage you to jump on that 40% discount right now. Get in the course, because I'd love to see you there. I want to see you at one of my live sessions during the course, because I did wireframing. And I think the next one I'm doing is design documentation. But then in your cohort, I get to do some UI design stuff as well. So I'm really excited. So with that being said, I'm going to just say thank you all for joining me in this 1 hour session. I'm going to invite Madeline back up for any last minute details, but I'm going to say aloha, goodbye to you all, and hopefully I'll see you inside the course.
Thank you so much, Jesse. That was really epic, and I think a really great sort of bite-sized understanding of what you guys are going to expect if you join that course. Like I said, we're doing a 40% discount now, and it's available for 1 or 2 more weeks. So make sure you get on it. I'm going to link it in the chat. I saw a lot of you guys were asking like the difference between our course and other courses. And I just wanted to expand on that as well, because we put so much thought into our curriculum. And the way that Dribbble has positioned this is that you're getting this hands-on teaching for 2 hours per week with some of the best designers in the world. So these mentor sessions, they're not just reviewing your portfolio, you're actually designing alongside them. Like Jesse said, we also have that network of really famous world-leading designers who are going to come and do live sessions with you. So you get those live sessions with Brad Frost, Dan Moll, Jesse's doing a couple of live sessions, Jessica Coe, who's that Google hiring manager. And then you also get plugged into Dribble's network of hiring managers after creating your portfolio with 3 projects. So really awesome. And also 40% discount. You can't go wrong with that. So I'm super excited about this course. It's starting on the 6th of June. So you can, prepare yourselves to start for the 6th of June. After this session, we're going to be sending you an email with the recording. So if you want to rewatch anything, then you could rewatch it. That email is going to be coming from my colleague, Jessica, who's going to be head of admissions. So, if you have any questions about the course, or if you want to book some time to speak with her, then please do. You could find her Calendly in that email, or just reply to her and shoot any questions her way. We would love to support you and, for you to make the right decision for your continued career development and continued learning into product design. Just let us know if you need anything or want to chat to us to help us support your decision here. Thank you so much to you guys. It's been really awesome seeing you guys in the chat, seeing such an international bunch. Hi, Henna. Thank you so much, William, for joining. And reach out to us if you've got any questions, but so pumped for this next cohort, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye, guys.